Hello, it's morning here in the Philippines. Good morning if you are abroad. Have a good day or have a good night. And today I am going to paint for beginners. So in this tutorial, this is step-by-step tutorial. This is open for everyone, but I created this live tutorial specifically for beginners because I saw some struggles of beginners in watercolor painting. So I would like to answer their questions by doing this tutorial. And also in this tutorial, we would know more about our art supplies. So I actually forgot to print out the reference photo, but the reference photo is in the reference photo is linked in the description box. I will show it from time to time here. So this is the reference photo, and I will show you how to paint in monochrome. You don't have to use the same color. You could use any color that you prefer to paint this. So we will simplify and we will translate this photo into watercolor painting if you are if you are painting using different medium. Well, this is an opportunity for you to learn how to use water in painting. So I will put this aside first. You can paint along with me, or you can watch and learn and then paint later. Okay, so I have here some scrap pieces of paper that I will be using for practices and color swatches. And I have here a 5 by 7 piece of paper. So I'm using Arches watercolor paper. This is 300 GSM and 100% cotton, cold press. If you'd like to use this, you can check the link on the description box to get mm, some paper like this. This is an artist grade paper, but if you don't have a budget for an artist grade paper, you could also try the one of the best student grade paper that I've seen. This is the Bao Hong Academy. When you see Academy, that it means student grade paper. The good thing about this is also 300 GSM and also 100% cotton. This is in blocks. You can also buy these in sheets. Soon I will also make a tutorial how to use a watercolor block like this. But for this time, I will be just using a sheet of paper that we can tape down to our board. So before I start, I will be running down the materials that I will be using for this tutorial. Okay, and a lot of people are not available at this time, but I won't delete this tutorial, and so everyone can watch it again and again. All right. By the way, I would like to shout out my friends in Ace of Art. They are my art community here in the Philippines. They are very helpful and very supportive. If I have questions, I can ask people there who are painting for years, and it's a community of different artists in different mediums. We have painters in different mediums. We have also sculptors and everything is aside everything, but everything is art. Okay, so I will be running down my materials. Also, yeah, I will be using a 5 by 7 arches. I cut this from the pad that I showed you earlier. I cut it into 4 small pieces for tutorial and practices. You can also do that if you want to, if you would like to save money and just doing practices. You can buy a pad and then you can cut into small pieces. You don't have to paint the entire paper. When I was a beginner, I started in this size because this is where I was comfortable with. Now I can paint up to 22 by 30 inches of watercolor paper. Okay, so that's for my paper. For my water, I have here 2 cups of clean water. One would be for dirty washes, and one would be just remain clean. For the brushes, I will be using a Kolinsky brush. This is size 12. You could use any size. I suggest if you are using this size of paper, 5 by 7, you could use like size 8 and above. And you could use another big brush or a flat brush. For my flat brush, this is Art Secret. This is a goat's hair. I like using natural hair brushes because they are soft and easy to work with than aesthetic brushes. I use aesthetic brushes, but I use them only for realistic paintings. Okay, for the colors, you could use any colors that you would like, but for me, I will be using phthalo blue from Daniel Smith. I have here a dropper. I use this to pre-wet my paint. I will be doing it now so that I can activate my paint, and while I'm talking, it is already activated. Okay. I'm also using um, a ceramic plate for my washes. You could use any mixing palette that you would like. But for me, this is very useful for me because it's easy to get the colors again or the same mix of colors if I run out than using plastic and metal tin because tin also can rust over time, so I do not use that. Also, to speed up the painting, because we need every layer, we will be drying it out. So I will be using a heat gun. So you can use a heat gun, or if you have a hair dryer, you could also use that. Also have here a drawing board, just a small size drawing board that is enough for holding on the paper. I I am using a drawing board because it will be easy for me to lift the colors if I mean to lift the paper if I need to, and that I will be also doing it in this tutorial. And yeah, I do not tape it on my table because I cannot move the paper. Okay. So before we start, I will be taping the my paper down. I am using a masking tape. This is just a regular masking tape that I bought in that I bought in the grocery. You don't have to buy expensive tape or an artist tape. This actually works for me. I have also a towel with me all the time when I'm painting. I use a towel because it's easy for me and it's economical. I do not waste a lot of tissue paper towel. So I have this, but if you don't, it's okay if you have a paper towel always with you. So I will be taping my paper down here, and I will show you how I do this without ripping off my paper. Most of the time, the challenges of the beginners in watercolor is that the ripping off the paper. So this time, with this way, actually, I do not ruin my paper. We know that paper is the most expensive ones, and they are very consumable. So we have to save paper, of course. Okay, so here I am removing the excess sticky gum on the tape before I putting it down to my paper. So what I'm going to do is I will I will tip it down. I will do the top first, and then the bottom, and then the sides. This way it will be easy for me to remove the tape without ruining my paper. Okay, all right. And then next time I will be most likely next week, like Saturday, I can do live again. I will be, I'm thinking if I will be doing loose flowers or galaxies. Okay. You can also do this on your clothes, on your shirt, or on your pants. You can also do this. By the way, I have a vlog coming out this afternoon. Well, the afternoon for me is the Philippine time by 2 p.m. or that would be 2 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, the next day. All right. We tape our papers to keep flat the paper while we are painting so that when we do wet on wet, it will be easy for us to work and it doesn't, and also the paper won't buckle while working. Okay. So some beginners or new to watercolors ask, why do you have to tape down your paper? Why you have to do that? Why you have to wet the paper all over? All right. So those are some beginner questions that I receive, and also I noticed on a Facebook group that I am in. So this answer the questions why we keep it down. If you have a block of paper or black paper like this, you don't have to tape it down. You just have to paint right away and then remove the paper. After painting, there is like a small part here that you can insert a blade or a blade or a knife or whatever, as long as it is flat, to remove the paper because everything is glued down, so you don't have to tape your paper and stretch it. Okay, so I will be mm, finishing this. Also, I will show you how you would be using your materials. So this tutorial is also knowing your materials. I know my materials very well because I'm painting for quite some time, like 4 years. Okay, so I know my brushes very well. I know how much water they load. I know how much stroke that they can get, the thin lines that I can get, or the flat lines that I can get. I know my brushes very well. Okay, I know also my paints very well. So this is a chance for you to know your to know your materials. Also, your we will be getting to know the values that you can get on your paints. So I will be using this small scrap of paper here. Okay, I will just put that paper or tape paper aside, and I will be mixing a color here. So I pre-wet this is Daniel Smith Phthalo Green, I'm sorry, Phthalo Blue green shade. So this is it. Most beginners' mistake is that they are afraid to use more paint, and they tend to just water it down, like in tea to coffee consistency. They're afraid to go to milk, cream, or butter consistency, and that is what we're going to do today. So if you see, I put the paint here and it's not moving. This is on the cream consistency. I will water it down. I add more water. This is the good thing about watercolors. You don't have to add any more paint or white color to make a light value of your paint. You just add water. Okay. And if you will see, okay, I'm keep adding water, and you will see how much light that I can get. I will add more water here in this part. I will move it. Okay, okay, I'm adding more water. Okay, so here, okay, this, okay, this is a light shade of blue. I know it's hard to see on the camera. Okay, there you go. Hope that's showing now. Okay, you can add more water into it, and you would see how light it is now. I know it's difficult to see on the camera, but I tilt my paper down so you can see this. This is the light that I get. I can make it more transparent by adding more water. Okay, watercolors are transparent, by the way. So if you add more paint, so this is the first value, this is the second value. Okay, I think that is the same. I'll add more paint here. Okay, a little bit more. Okay, there, there you go. Let's add a little bit more paint. There, a little bit more of paint. There you go. It's still watery. I will add more. Okay, I will get more paint. So still in tea to coffee consistency, I added a little bit more. Okay, so this is a little bit darker, like in milk consistency. All right, a little darker. Okay, there you go. If you can see that, and I will add here. This is the darkest that I can get. This has more water. If I if i want to get a darker color, I just add paint. If you want to add more, if you want to have a lighter color, just add water. And this is the darkest that I can get. It doesn't have much water, it doesn't have a lot of water, it's a little water. Okay, same here. So this is the color values that we will be doing. So you get to know your paint. You could use any color that you want in your palette or any color that you have. And I will just put it here because I'll show you again the reference photo. Okay. All right. If you would see, the parts here are light. And if it's far from you, you can see it very light like that. If it's near to you, on the perspective, you would see it darker. All right. If you cannot see if you can also see the reference photo on the link below, so you can check that out. And then we will be painting. Okay, so this is the color values that we will be getting. I will be showing you how to create those layers and layers of mountains. So here, by the way, if you are confused which side that you will paint on, if for cold press paper, you will use the grainy side. That is the right side. If that is smooth, then that is the back. All right. Okay, so I still have paint in my brush here. There you go. I will rinse my brush. Okay, I just put it here. Just rinse my brush with my first jar, my dirty jar. Okay, dirty water jar. Okay, and I will be showing you how to paint layers of mountains. Okay, I am using a big brush because it will be easy for me. All right, there. It still has paint because this paint is actually staining. So that happens if you are using a staining colors, and you can rinse it with your clean water. That's fine. All right. I have here my flat brush. This flat brush would be, I would be using this as a blending brush, or this would be my thirsty brush. So what is a thirsty brush, by the way? So thirsty brush is a brush that when you wet it, I won't add any paint here. So I hope you can see that I am wetting it using the clean jar of water. There you go. And then I will remove the excess water using my towel here. It is damp, it's wet, it's damp, but it is not too wet, not dripping wet. Okay. But I have here my thirsty brush. So I will have here a sample. So I have here a sample sheet of paper. So I will be getting more paint. So your hmm, painting brush that I have here. This is my painting brush, my round brush. This has a lot of water. So this is watery. If I will be painting mountains, for example, I will be paint mountain here. I will leave the bottom very wet. I can tilt my paper a little bit to bring down the water. Okay, so it's wet, and then I will brush it off. There you go. So you can see I made a soft blend at the bottom. Okay, I can wet it again. Okay, let's see it. I can wet it again. All right, I add more water here and then brush it off so I can have a smooth blend. Okay, if it doesn't blend so much, okay, you can wet it again and remove excess water and then brush it off. So I will put it here closer. You can see there is a smooth transition of the paint here. So before we paint the next layer, I will be drying it out. I will be putting myself on mute so you won't hear the noise of my dryer here. One moment. Okay, it's dry. You would know if your paper is already dry if the paper is already flat. Okay, I think it's still wet. I will try it. Okay, there it is. It's dry. Now we will paint the next layer. For the next layer, it would be the next value of color. So that will be more paint than water. Okay, so if you swatch your colors, Just put it on in front of you so you always see it to remind you, hey, you have to darken your paint. Okay, so I have my brush here. Okay, I will wet this one again. Remove the excess water. Remove the excess water on my towel. Okay, there you go. All right. Okay, a little bit more. Tilt my paper a bit. Okay, so the part, the lower part is wet, and then smooth, smoothing it. Okay, one more. There you go. So it has soft transition of the paint and water. Okay, I will just clean it using a wet brush. So this is more wet. Okay, there you go. And then just clean my brush first. And then I will just let this dry. Okay, so I will put this aside. All right. And then we will be starting to paint. Okay, I will put it here on this side. Okay, so there. So I have here the paper that I taped down earlier. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you can see it, and also my water. There you go. So first we will be the technique we will be doing here is wet on dry, and we will glaze it. Glazing means that you will be painting, or you will put the paint on top of a dry paint, like what we did here. All right. Okay, so I will just put this one here. I won't do any clouds. I will just start with the mountains at the top. Okay, and I am okay. I'm getting more paint. This is watery mixture. All right. I will test my paint first on this scrap of piece of paper. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, I will add a little bit more of water here. So Kolinsky brush is the one that I am using, and it holds a lot of water. You could use any brush that holds a lot of water, like silver black velvet. Silver black velvet is a mix of squirrel and synthetic brush. Okay, this is the silver black velvet. I don't have big size. The biggest size that I have is size 6. And for painting this, it's easy for me to use a big brush. So if you have a big brush, that is awesome. You can also use a flat brush for this. Okay, I am watering it down so I won't run out of paint. Okay, and then I will be painting mountain here. Like this is the farthest mountain that we will have. Okay, all right, there you go. I am going to tilt a little bit. Okay, since this is drying, it's going to dry because of humidity here in the Philippines. I'm just going to sweep it right away. There you go. All right, I can add a little bit more here. So for mountains are organic shape. You don't have to paint like in a triangle or or very or in a perfect shape. You can make different shapes. You don't have to copy as it is on what we have on the reference photo because it's used for reference and not to copy the entire thing. Okay, there you go. And clean my brush, my mm, okay, my flat brush, and then sweep it again. Okay, so it has smooth transition now. And when you sweep mm, the paint there, it's going down because tilting your paper help you to bring the water down. Okay. So for this, I will be drying it out. I will be drying this using my heat gun. One moment. Okay, so it's dry. Now I will be adding more um, paint than water. Okay, so I put my tape behind so it will tilt my paper down. Okay, and then I will check my paint here. So it's very watery. I will test it first. Okay, this is good. This value is good enough for me. All right, there you go. I'll just bring this down. I will put the next mountain. Okay, here we go. All right, you can go up there at the top, and then before it will dry in this part, I will wet my thirsty brush, remove the excess water, and sweep it down. Okay, all right. Okay, one minute. There you go. So it will bring the paint down. If it happens, that's okay because we will cover that later. All right. It's very humid here in the Philippines. It's hot and I'm sweating. All right. Even if I have my AC on, because I have my lights on, okay, and I'm very near the window. All right, so there, it's more watery there. And I am going to use this, brush it off. If it doesn't happen, you can wet your brush again, remove the excess water from there, and then here on my towel, Okay, there you go. Hello, Cindy. You're welcome. I'm actually here for beginners in watercolor and I'm happy to share what I know in watercolor. So I am going to do live every week. Where are you from? Okay. All right. I am cleaning my round brush. So now okay, it's still wet. I can add a little bit more of paint here. All right. Okay, it's still wet. It's good. I will add paint here more because it's drying. My paper is very easy to dry because it's humid here in the Philippines. It's like 32 degrees Celsius. It's hot. It's normal. It's a normal temperature here in the Philippines. Okay. If you're watching this video, either live or replay, you can also, I will post my output on my Facebook page that is Bianca Santiago. You can search me Bianca Santiago, or that is Mrs. B Santiago 21, and then you can post also your output there. So I s- I swipe it off with my brush here that is damp. I am going to press mute first because I'm going to dry this out. One moment, please. Okay, there you go. Every layer I try it, and I don't want everyone to wait for me like 30 to 40 minutes, even if it's humid here, to wait for my paper to dry. And I do not want this video to be long for those who will watch replay. So I always have my heat gun with me. But if you are in cold place, for sure you will use heat gun or you will use a hair dryer. Okay, I am adding more water to my mixing plate. I am just using phthalo blue green shade. I will add more paint here and water. So we'll mix some colors again. All right. I will add more water here. So I will be doing the next layer. All right. You can watch the replay or you can watch this beginning of this. The reference photo is on the description box below. You can also get my recommended supplies. If you don't have some art supplies or running out, you can check the links on the description box. So before I put my paint to my paper, I will test it first. Okay, there you go. I think I need to add more paint. It looks lighter than what I painted here. Okay, so there you go. You can use any color that you like. You could use sepia. Sepia is also good for monochrome painting. I like that. You could use any color that you like. Okay. So this is my painting brush. This is Kolinsky brush. Okay, I think this is good. And this is a flat brush that I use as a thirsty brush. So thirsty brush is a brush that you can use to lift paint or blend to smoothen the edges. Okay, and that's what I do. And I put a tape behind my paper here so that it will help to bring down the paint. Okay, so I will get more paint. So my paintbrush is watery. I hello wild orchids, and I have here a thirsty brush. Okay, so I'm going to paint the next one. All right. So this has more water, and this has less water. That is not Michael's. Yes, this brush is not from Michael. The brushes that I'm using are not from Michael's. I bought this Kolinsky brush in a local store here, and also the other one. Okay, there you go. So if you paint mountains, okay, you don't have to paint like a triangle shape. You don't have to do that. Okay, its organic shape. You can also wiggle your or brush like using the tip of your brush to express if there are some forests going on or trees there at the top. And then before I continue that, I will wet this brush first, remove the excess water and also on my towel, and then swipe it off before it will dry. Okay. If you see, it's drying fast because it's very hot here and I have lights on. If that happens, that's okay because we are going to cover that later with a darker shade of blue. All right, there, and continue painting the next. That is the reason I use a big brush, because if I use a small brush, it will be difficult for me to if it would be difficult for me to paint the mountains. There you go. And every layer I will try this. I won't rinse my brush yet. I will rinse my brush later. Okay, so I will put myself on mute again to dry. Okay, one moment please. Okay. Layering is difficult. Yes, that's true. Layering is difficult. And it takes time. But for this, I always drying my paper and my paint before I add another layer. And this is, yes, it's difficult, but with practice, you can you can do it easily. I use actually whenever I paint, I do like three or four layers, even more, especially if that's like a realistic painting. It's more than 5 layers. That's why 300 GSM of paper is very good to use. Okay. All right. It's okay, wild orchids. You can go if you need to go. Okay, you can watch this live later because I will keep this video and that is also to help other people or beginners to learn how to use their paints and to get to know their materials. Okay. For the next layer, it would be darker. It should be darker. Okay. I think I need to add a little bit more of paint there. Yeah. So this the color swatch that I did earlier. All right. So as a beginner, most beginners are afraid to add more paint than water. They stick to tea or coffee consistency, which is this. Okay. And it tends their painting is lack of saturation, and of course when watercolor is dry, it will it will dry a lighter color than when you painted it. So most beginners mistakes would be this, like they just stick to tea or coffee consistency. They're afraid to use more paint. Don't be afraid to use more paint. Adding more paint than water will help your painting to have contrast and more saturated, especially if you are planning to give the painting to someone else or if you would like to sell your painting. Okay. All right, so I will be adding the next layer here. Okay, there. All right, and again, more what more paint at the bottom. Okay, your mountains should not be uniform, or it doesn't have to be like too organized, like it's high here or low here. We are painting nature, and I love painting nature because nature is good to the eyes. It's very wonderful. Okay, there. Before I continue here, I will swipe this one first, blend it to smoothen it here. See if you see that paint going down. I like that. Okay, I will continue here. That's the reason I love watercolors. Okay, then I bring this down. Okay, there you go. And then, okay, seems like it has more paint here. Okay, I will add more here so it won't leave like a hard edge there. There you go. I will dry this one first and I will add more paint later to finish this off. Okay, one moment I will press mute so you won't hear the noise. Okay, there you go. Now I will get more paint than water here. Okay, this monochrome painting is a good practice, and it will help you remember that, hey, I'm not using much paint to my paintings recently. So this would be a good reminder for you. Okay, I will add more paint, a little bit more. So the consistency that we would like to get would be more paint than water. It means that when you move your paint into your mixing palette, it doesn't move that much. Okay, and that's what we would like to get. Okay, so we are moving now to butter to or cream to butter consistency. If you notice here, the paint here is not moving that much. And this is the last mount, the last layer that I will do. Okay, I will wiggle my brush like that to express some forest happening there in that part. All right, there you go. See how thick my paint is? You will see it's a little bit dry now, so we'll get more paint, add more water, add more paint here. And that is the reason that it's good to activate your paint before you start painting. There you go. And just brushing it off here. So this is very simple painting that I did because I made this tutorial specifically for beginners to help them out. All right, there you go. There. Okay, there it is. So if you see there, if the mountains are far from you, you would see that the colors are very light in color, and when it's near to you, it is dark. All right. So I'm just rinsing my brush because I won't add any paint anymore here. Okay, so this is the last layer. I will be drying my paper so we can remove the tape, and I'll show you how easily I remove the tape even if I am just using a masking tape that doesn't ruin my paper. Okay, one moment. There we go. So it's completely dry, and I will remove my tape. So when removing the tape, you will remove from inside going outside. Okay, pulling away the tape. There you go. All right. So we see it's clean here. So even if I am using a regular masking tape, it doesn't ruin my paper. All right. This one works for me, but if in your country the masking tape has a lot of gum, you need to remove the excess gum before you take your paper down. Okay, I will post this um, the photo of this output on my Facebook page. If you paint along with me, and if you paint this monochrome painting of mountains, you could also add your output there in the comment section to see it. Okay, so this is the final painting. I hope that this video or tutorial help you to get to know your art supplies and your paint, especially to how you will easily remove the tape without ruining your paper. If you if you check on the description box, you would see the link for the reference photo, the links also for the art supplies. I will be going on live maybe Friday or Saturday again next week, the same time. And later on this afternoon, I will be posting a vlog. It's specifically for the Filipino artists, but you can also check it out. And also I will be posting vlog every week. I have some upcoming videos. I will also post a video about a review of this master's brush cleaner. I'm using this for 3 years now. That helped me to keep my brushes keep my brushes in the same shape. I have this brush for 4 years now, my silver black velvet for more than a year, and they are still in good shape. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope you like them. I hope you like it. And there you go. See you next time. Bye.